Hey y'all, I'm Hope, and today I'm doing the mid-year freakout tag. I really enjoyed doing this last year. It's a fun way to kind of check in with my reading at the middle of the year, so I thought we would go ahead and do it again this year. So I don't have any good preamble, so let's just jump straight into the questions. Whoops, I kicked the tripod. Did not mean to do that. So question number 1 is best book you've read so far in 2022. I forgot to change the dates when I copied the questions over. I think for me this is Saarland by River Solomon. I ended up listening to this one on audio originally, and I loved it so much that I went out and bought a copy. The writing in this is just beautiful. It is a very intense and at times difficult to read story, but I think that it is just so beautifully written and the characters are so much like real people that this story just kind of hooked me in from the first few pages, and I could not put this book down when I was listening to it. I listened to it, I think, in just a couple of days, pretty quickly, and I usually struggle with audiobooks, but it was fantastic. And I also just love the kind of found family elements that ultimately kind of pull into this book. I just really enjoyed the way this story was structured, and I think that Vern as a protagonist is just so beautifully written. She's got so much nuance in that she's in some ways a very compassionate maternal character, but in other ways she's very hard and very aggressive and angry and like rightfully angry, and she's just got so much nuance to her that I just absolutely love her as a protagonist. She was so fun to follow and also like heartbreaking to follow as well, but this book just has so many fantastic elements in it. I do recommend looking up content warnings though if you're planning to read this, because it does touch on a lot of very difficult topics around racism in the US and police violence and things like that. So definitely check content warnings before reading this one. Question number 2 is the best sequel you read this year, and I've chosen A Desolation Called Peace by Katie Martine. I didn't actually have to choose this one. This was like hands down the best sequel. This one is the second book in the Teixcalon duology, which follows Ambassador Mahit from LaSalle Station as she tries to basically do her ambassadorial, is that the word, the correct word? She's an ambassador and she's got to like do her job while also trying to solve a murder mystery in the first book. And then this one I love because it expands the world in a really interesting way. We continue to have Mahi as perspective, but we actually get some more perspective characters in here, which the first book being just one POV to this one having, I can't remember if this was like 4 or 5 POVs. It was several, I think it was 5. Just having all those additional POVs from different people in different parts of the world and who had different roles to play in the government that was built up in the first book. I just thought that was really fascinating. We got to see a lot more of the world because of that. And I think that too, this one, this is a first contact story where they're engaging with a new alien species that they've never encountered before. I thought that was a really interesting thing and very different from the first book. So I just felt like this was another really interesting story that pulled from important plot threads from the first book, but wasn't like a direct follow on. But like, I don't know how to describe it. The first book was important to the events here, but this was a very different kind of story. And I also just love Katie Martine's writing, so between the plot and the characters and the writing in this one, kind of similarly to Saarland, I think it was all just so beautifully done and tied together that I absolutely loved it. I also have a vlog where I read this if you want to see more of my thoughts on this. It has one of my favorite moments in a video I've made this year where I'm saying that like, oh, this is going to be a sequel to one of my favorite books, it's going to be fun, I think it's going to be a good time, and then hard cut to me crying because I forgot to update in the middle, and then I updated at the very end when I was sobbing over the events at the end of the book. So that's probably one of my favorite vlogs I've done so far this year, and I will link that up above and in the description down below so you can check it out. Question number 3 is a new release that you haven't read yet but want to. And I've chosen The Red Palace by June Her. I had quite a few that I've picked up this year and not read yet, but this was one that I pre-ordered for myself as a birthday present for myself, and I am kind of sad that I haven't gotten to it yet. It's a historical mystery set in the Joseon era of Korea in, I think, the 1750s? Yeah, 1758. And it follows a palace nurse and a young inspector as they investigate a series of murders in the palace of women who were working there, and the clues begin to point to the crown prince as the suspect, and so they have to like navigate that political situation. I believe there's also a romance in here, and I love the way that June Her wrote the relationships in her debut, The Silence of Bones, which I read last year, so I'm really interested to see what she does with the romance in this one. Question number 4 is what's your most anticipated release for the last half of the year? And I kind of have 3 that I want to mention because I'm looking forward to all of them equally. The first one is The Daughter of Dr. Moreau, which comes out in July. Filming this in June, it should be going up in July. That one is a kind of sci-fi, I think it's a light sci-fi. Anyway, it's a retelling of The Island of Dr. Moreau, which is actually not one of my favorite classics, but I love everything that Silvia Moreno Garcia writes, so I'm just interested to see what she does with this story. The second release I'm looking forward to is Babel by R.F. Kuang, which is a dark academia with fantasy elements that I think sounds like it's going to be really interesting. I know this is supposed to be kind of like a discussion of translation as a tool of oppression and colonialism, and I think that's going to be really fascinating, and it just sounds like it's going to be just a really fantastic and interesting book, and I really like kind of nerdy stuff like that, so I'm really looking forward to this one, and I've seen a lot of really good early reviews for it. And then the last new release I want to mention is A Restless Truth by Freya Marska, which is the second book in the Last Binding series, I believe. It's the sequel to A Marvelous Light, and I cannot wait for this one. It has one of my favorite characters from the first book as one of the protagonists of this book, and it's a murder mystery on a boat with a romance. I think it sounds fantastic. I cannot wait. I love Freya Marska's writing, and I loved all of the characters in the first book, but particularly one of the main characters, A Restless Truth, was one of my favorite characters from the first book, so very excited for that one. Question number 5 is, what's your biggest disappointment so far this year? For me, it has to be Project Hail Mary, because I just heard so many good things about this book. I had been told that it was really funny, and it was really fun and fast-paced, and basically everybody I know that's read it loved it, and I didn't dislike it that much. Dislike isn't really the right word. I just didn't vibe with it, I think. It was not a book for me. The humor in it, which there's a lot of, didn't really work for me. The humor just didn't land for me, so I did not enjoy this book as much as everybody else has, which I kind of hate, because also my uncle read it and loved it, and I wanted to, like, read it, so then I'd be like, oh, I read the book you liked, but yeah, I didn't like it that much, so probably won't do that. Question 6 is, what was your biggest surprise this year? And convenience store woman is my answer, because I never expected to even pick this book up, but I found it at my local bookstore. I'd heard so many weird reviews of it that I just totally picked it up on a whim, and I read it the entire book that afternoon, which I never do. I stayed up late to finish it, and this book was so weird. Like, the weird reviews are accurate, and I don't really know how to go about summarizing this book at all, but it's about Keiko, who works in a convenience store and basically just doesn't fit societal norms, and there's a lot of pressure on her to, like, get a better paying job and get, like, kind of go on a career path rather than working at this convenience store. There's pressures on her to, like, get married and have children, and she just doesn't want that for herself. So it's about her, like, navigating that and really deciding, does she want to try and fulfill people's expectations for her, or does she want to push back against them and continue to live her life the way that she wants to? This was so much more interesting than that premise made it sound to me, and it's a book that has continued to just, like, live rent-free in my head since I read it. I originally gave it like 3 stars, I think, when I first finished it, and then I've upped it to 4 at some point because I just keep thinking about it, and I definitely feel like I need to go back and reread it to get the most from it. It's just a really weird and fascinating little book. Question number 7 is your favorite new author, either new to you or debut. I had a few. One, Freya Marska. I mentioned the sequel to this already, but Marvelous Light was the first book I read this year, and I absolutely loved it. Really looking forward to the sequel, and based on the writing in this, would definitely pick up basically anything that Freya Marska writes. Goodbye. That book fell to the floor. It's fine. I also want to mention Vivian Shaw, who I read Strange Practice from this year, and that book is just such a weird, like, cozy but also spooky vibe that I just absolutely loved. It's so much fun. It's an urban fantasy. I love the way that she writes her characters, and I will absolutely be reading the rest of the series, and I really want to see if she has anything else out, because I just like the way that she does her character work. Question number 8 is your newest fictional crush. I don't have one. Question number 9 is your newest favorite character, and hang on, I have to deconstruct a stack for this. My newest favorite fictional character is Twinny Cicada from A Desolation Called Peace. I can't talk about Twinny Cicada without, like, spoiling parts of this book, but I love him so much. He's fascinating. The choices that he makes in the end of this book are fascinating, and hands down, he's my new favorite character. I just love him so much. He's just so cool. I'm gonna gently pick that other book up while I'm at it. Oh, I shouldn't have even put that down, because the next question is a book that made you cry. I already mentioned this, that I cried in the vlog, but this one. And then the question after that is a book that made you happy. So Strange Practice by Vivian Shaw. The friend group in here is so cute, and I love that they're all like very competent people in very different ways, and they really lean on each other when they need to because they each have different strengths and weaknesses. I just love the friend group in here. It made me smile a lot. I just love this book so much. Question number 12 is, what's the most beautiful book you've bought or received? So I've chosen The Ivory Key by Akshay Raman. This was the Illumicrate edition, and let me take the author letter out. I just love the color scheme here. I love the orange and the blue, and I think that the character portraits on here are beautifully done. I just think it's a beautiful book. It's got the blue sprayed edges as well. Yeah, everything about this book is really pretty, and I'm very glad I have it on my shelf. I also started reading the first chapter, I think, a couple of months ago. I haven't actually finished it. You can see my little bookmark sticking out there. No, it's just a business card from a yarn company. Awesome. I do that a lot. The writing was really good in here as well, so like I'm just really excited about this one, and I think I'm gonna love it, so I get to keep this like very pretty book on my shelf going forward too. Question number 13, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? A whole bunch. I have read very little of my priority TBR. I'll put a little screenshot like here somewhere, and I've also got about half of the Goodreads choice books left from last year's sci-fi and fantasy nominees. Put a list here somewhere so you can see which ones I've read. So yeah, I've got like 29 of those left. I've got 8 of my priority TBR left out of 9. I really need to get on those, but those are kind of the things I need to focus on for the end of the year. And then the last question is, who's your favorite book community member? I don't like trying to pick favorites, and I also don't interact with that many people on here because I have terrible social anxiety. But I do want to shout out my most frequent commenter, John from Hey Y'all Listen Up. He comments on like every video that I have made, and it just always brightens my day that somebody is engaging with my videos and I get this chance to like interact with somebody. He's super nice. Also, I love his wrap-ups every month. His reading tastes are very different from mine. He reads a lot more like classic sci-fi and fantasy, but I always think that his wrap-ups are really insightful. He also reads some nonfiction too, which I think is interesting. So yeah, massive shout out to John. Definitely go check out his channel. I'll link it down in the description below. And yeah, I really appreciate every time he comments on my videos. It's just nice to like have that bit of connection to somebody else in the community. But those are all the questions, and I had a lot of fun doing this again this year. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.